Hello and welcome to our FAST class today. We're going to be talking about business process flows and if they're right for your organization. My name is Sarah McDonald and I am a CRM consultant here at Syvantis. So to start, let's talk about, what is a business process flow and when would you want to use one? So they are going to be a guided, stepwise walkthrough of your process. So this is going to be really great if you have a specific policy that you want everybody to follow when they're working in CRM. This is also really great if you have entry-level salespeople and you want to give them a guide. This is going to help them to familiarize themselves with your process in particular and also help them work with the data in CRM. In addition, at the end of the day, it's going to be really great because it's going to give your customers all a very similar experience, regardless of which salesperson they have as they work with your sales team. And one of the pieces that I think kind of gets overlooked on these process flows is that you can have these span multiple teams. So you can essentially hand off the same record to different teams and have them input information on the record specific for their role on the team. So to start, we're going to go ahead and launch the Sales Hub app in CRM. And this is going to allow us to look at the default lead to opportunity business process flow. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And what you're going to see here is the app launcher in CRM. So in this app launcher, we're going to go ahead and we're going to open the out-of-the-box Sales Hub application. And this is the out-of-the-box app that is packaged with Dynamics for Sales. So the Sales Hub app is going to contain pretty much every kind of record that sales could potentially work with in CRM. So a lot of times the Sales Hub app is going to be cumbersome for sales teams, for example, that don't work with every single record type that comes prepackaged with the application. So you can see that you have a large workspace here on the left-hand side. But we're going to focus on taking a look at the lead to opportunity business process flow. And I'm just going to pick one of these leads to go over the lead to opportunity business process flow. So this shows up at the top of your screen, and it's a progress bar with different stages and steps in it. So first of all, let's take a look at the basic architecture of a business process flow. So first off, you're going to see the name of which one is active. In this case, it's the lead to opportunity sales process. And you're also going to see how long this process flow has been active on this record. This is an older lead that's kind of been sitting out in my demo environment. So you can see it's been active for quite a long time. So business process flows can work along multiple different record types. In this case, we have two. I think this is really nicely illustrated by just taking a snip of the record here. So this stage here is specific just to leads. And then these later stages here are just opportunities. So you'll see that here in action after we kind of qualify our lead and convert it over to an opportunity. But let's go ahead and take a look at what these stages are all about. So in the lead stage, we have, it's called qualify, and we have essentially all the stage is going to be different data fields from the lead record. So as part of the out-of-the-box qualification stage, these are the fields that are going to be prepackaged in this process flow. So we have, some kind of standard ones, what the budget is, who is going to be in charge of the purchase process on the lead's end, whether or not you've identified the decision maker at the organization, et cetera. So this is called a stage, and each one of these steps are the different steps in the stage. So once we're ready to qualify the lead, we go ahead and hit the qualify button. And what this does is it's going to go ahead and create an opportunity record, and it's going to move some of the information from the lead record to the opportunity. All right, so after we've qualified the lead, the opportunity will open up on our screen. And now we can start working on some of the later stages that are specific for the opportunity record. When you're kind of coming in here and working on one of these stages, you're essentially coming in and filling out their different information for the different fields. So these, in this example, we have some different, text fields where we can input, the need of the customer, for example. And, we just essentially fill out this information, as we're working through the opportunity. And then we can also have, in addition to, text fields, we also can have, checklist kind of items. For example, I'm going to, add up any stakeholders on the lead side that might be involved with the sale. I might also want to establish what kind of competitors are out there for the product. And then once I kind of complete those, I can, go ahead and check them off. And then when you move it to the next stage, you'll just have a button here that allows you to do so. One thing that's also really nice about these is that you're not just limited to, to kind of drilling in, all the stages all the time. You can actually go ahead and pin this to the side of your screen with this little button on the stage. And this is going to allow you to, have this stage kind of docked to your right-hand side of the screen, so you can kind of easily go through your different checklist items. And just like we're kind of moving everything, kind of forward, if you forget to do something in a later stage, you can always move back as well. So a lot of times, we see our clients are going to see this business process flow and they're just not going to use it at all because it doesn't meet their needs. However, the beauty of CRM is that it is completely customizable. So like, forms and fields in CRM and views, we can also customize this process flow as well. And if you don't want, to use a business process flow, that is also fine. You just can go ahead and deactivate this in the system and it's not going to show up at all. But let's say you do actually want to give this tool to your team. And in that case, you're going to want to come in and do some customization. And so to kind of walk you through that process, we're going to go ahead and take a look at a custom business process flow and how we can kind of utilize it between some different teams. So in our scenario, we are actually going to be selling art supplies. And we're going to be passing a lead from our marketing team over to our sales team. So to start, we have a couple of custom apps that we've configured here for this demo. One is tailored for a marketing team, and the other one is tailored for a sales team. So we're going to start with the marketing app, where our leads are being generated and passing through our marketing team. So we're going to go ahead and open up the leads area in our custom app. And in here, I have a lead that has been created for Rose. Now in my custom app, you'll see that I've actually launched a completely different process flow. So this one I've just called the marketing lead process, and it's a very simple process that just has a couple of stages in it. And this process is meant as the process for leads in this custom app to help the marketing team make sure that they're hitting the pieces that they need to on the lead. All right, so in the first stage here, we have a lead source, and then we also have a lead score. So as a part of marketing team, my job is to come in here and make sure that this information is going to be filled out for reporting. And in this case, I have a lead source that is our website. And I'm just filling out what form that this lead was generated from. And here it was the contact us form. We can do some dynamic things in these with these fields in these different stages. For example, showing the web form name and inputting that is only relevant when the lead source is web. If I change the lead source, to trade show, for example, the web form doesn't make sense here, and we've just hidden it. But we'll go ahead and move it back to web here, for example. Once I've made sure all this information is filled out correctly, I'm going to go ahead and move this to the next stage. And here I have a stage that's just for sales handoff. As a part of this stage, I'm going to go ahead and assign this lead over to a sales team member. So right now, I'm just kind of referentially showing the owner field from the record, just to highlight here that it is not yet assigned. And I'm going to go ahead and look for my sales rep, in this case, Ann. Now, once I've assigned this over, I'm going to go ahead and say, yes, I have assigned this to sales. And I'm also going to go ahead and schedule a meeting with Ann. And I'm going to hand this lead off to her and make sure I answer any other questions that I might have about this lead. So this is essentially the end of the life cycle here of my marketing lead process. So now let's take a look at what Ann sees. As Ann, I am going to use the dedicated app here for art supply sales. So we'll go ahead and open that app. And now I'm going to go ahead and migrate over to move over to the lead section here. And I'm going to change my view here and look at my open leads. All right, now we see that Rose has shown up in my open leads list. And I'm going to go ahead and open up the record. So what you're going to see on this record when it loads is a completely different sales process. So in this example, we've actually created two sales processes for leads that are targeted at different teams. And we are showing them differentially between the apps. Now, I've kind of kept the stages here very similar to the lead to opportunity process flow. However, the content in each of these stages has changed quite a bit. So as part of sales, I am going to come in here and mark that I have actually sent an introductory email to Rose, and that she is still interested in working with us. In addition, she let me know, that she's very interested in getting this going. So I've marked that appropriately on the lead as well. All right, So now that I have sent my intro email and have confirmed that Rose wants to move forward, I'm going to go ahead and qualify this lead. And this is going to, again, open up an opportunity record where I can start working on the later stages of the later stages specific to the opportunity. All right. Now I'm on the opportunity record, and now I can start working on the develop stage. So as a part of Art Supply's process, we actually help our clients find any grants out there that might be applicable to fund their art supplies for their schools. So that leads us to show how we can do some conditional branching in the business process flow to show or hide a school grant stage based off of the sell-to type on the opportunity. So in this case, I have selected that it is a school, and then we see the school grant stage here. But if it was a business, that school grant stage would not be applicable. So we don't need to show it and have our users go through it. All right, so if we move it back to school, you'll see that it'll again, kind of show on our screen. So we can have, conditional branching that's going to kind of show and hide stages, based on some, based off of some other, definition of a field on the opportunity. In this example, sell-to type. Now that I walked you through the conditional branching, we can kind of walk through, these different stages. So again, here we're in develop stage. I'm going to go ahead and schedule a discovery meeting with Rose. And I also have fields in here where I can mark, that I've prepped, for my call. We'll go ahead and move it to the school grant stage next. So now that I'm in the school grant stage here, I'm going to go ahead and assign this over to Jeff. And Jeff is our specialist here that works to help source different grants for schools. So I'm going to go ahead and assign him. So this is a great, piece of a business process flow where you might want to have a workflow or a flow in Power Automate that's going to go ahead and send Jeff an email and let him know that he's been selected as the grant reviewer on this opportunity. So let's say, Jeff gets an email, that he needs to come, in here and do a little bit of work on the opportunity. Now he kind of has a stage that's a little bit more dedicated for him. So he's been assigned, and he comes in here and he, takes a look at Fork Falls High and sees what they're kind of qualified for as far as their grants go. And once he's kind of reviewed that information, he can come in here and mark that as yes. And then he can go ahead and kind of move it on to the next stage. Now Anne knows that she is ready to start working on the full proposal. All right, so let's go over, some of the issues that can arise when you're creating business process flow, and tips on how to make those work best for your team. So at the forefront, it's really important not to overbuild your process flows and to overly complicate them. When you do this, effectively nobody wants to use them anymore. It can be a big waste of time for your people. You shouldn't make a bunch of fields, required, for example, when that might not meet every, scenario of the process. I think having a more simple process flow is going to make adoption much easier, and it's going to make the business process flow a lot easier for your end users. So we want to think about, keeping these, stages brief only putting in the most important details that they need, to collect and walk through. And so you should think about these as more of like your checklist items. You've done this, you've done that. You have scheduled a meeting. You've assigned a reviewer, those sort of things. And you really should use some of the tools with business process flows and utilize things such as dynamic fields, conditional branching, and maybe implementing multiple business process flows for an entity if you need them. You should make sure that your sales team and the different teams that are using your business process flows are using them and testing them and making sure that they are really working for them, and revise anything that needs to be revised that's not meeting their needs. You have some that come out of the box. For example, for sales, we have the lead to opportunity process. And most of these processes aren't going to work very well out of the box. And so you really need to customize them to make sure they fit your process. You also have the option of not using them at all, and just deactivating them and removing them out of the view of your users is probably the best way to go in that scenario. If you do choose the route of going through and customizing them, you want to make sure that you keep it simple enough to apply, to all the scenarios of your process, while still giving a good guide and a checklist to your end users. You can do all kinds of different customizations on business process flows, such as creating multiple for different teams, creating conditional branching to show stages only when relevant, creating conditional branching or conditional actions in there, for example, hide a field when it's not relevant, and configuring flows that are going to help with your process and make sure that your record is, being worked on by the right people or the right person. For example, a reviewer might want to email notification when they're ready to go in and do some review on the record. So here at Syvantis, we can help you, whether it is, configuring a brand new process flow or helping, adjust the one that you might already have. We can help you customize it and make it be what it needs to be for your team. So I hope that you're going to join us for our next FAST class, where we're going to be talking about Dynamics 365 marketing. In particular, we're going to be talking about the marketing content tab and all it has to offer.